Hey guys, and welcome to the second installment of Max Reads. This time I read the changelog for the Unification version of 7.3. Yes, we got another update before 8.0 because yeah, there have been collected a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff has been changed and adjusted and all the good stuff. And yeah, this will also be the patch version that will be used for my invitational tournament. So yeah, stay tuned for some high-level games with this patch or new version, we could call it, in the near future. But okay, without further ado, we go through the stuff over here. It will not be as long as the 7.0 changelog video, but yeah, it is worth a read here. So first, Adeptus Mechanicus Explorators. We have, yeah, there's a just a bug fix basically for the knight. They had some wrongly displaying weapons and stuff. But more interesting, it starts with Blood Angels, more like you could call it bug fixes or intentional things, like the Librarian Dreadnought is now a detector. It was not a detector before. Commander Dante reinforcement cost. Commander Dante is a squad, and his reinforcement cost in the squad was higher than training basically new Dante, so this is now fixed. The Honor Guard jetpack leader had lower speed, which would yeah, leave him behind. This got adjusted. The Devastators and Primaris Suppressors no longer need war gear heavy weapons research. This was something being requested for quite a while and also being yeah, more standard now, that they do not need it. They now just need, I think, tier 2 and an armory. At least they need tier 2. And yeah, the heavy bolters, the heavy weapons have been reworked so that they are more working like a standard heavy weapon research, increasing the maximum weapons of like Devastators from 4 to 6, which is quite handy, and Terminators also get increased weapons from it. The tactical melter gun accuracy has been increased, yeah, and the fire on the move penalty is higher. Primaris Rhino was a little low in the HP department, got adjusted to have more or less standard HP, and there was a bug, as you can see. There's an armor stat, not the armor class, but an armor stat, and 100 is the base for everything basically. There are some exceptions where it's higher or lower, but if you have a normal unit without special abilities and stuff, it's always 100. Also, so that the Primaris Rhino for the might, I think is the path, is always showing. The smoke launchers got moved from the machine bastion to the armory. That's not the only faction where this is, and this makes sense to have more researchers in the armory where you have yeah, more space as well. Vindicated Demolisher Cannon got reworked. It was way too strong, killing buildings really fast. It is now more or less similar to the Imperial Fists version, so yeah, this got a nerf basically. The Primaris Assault and Heavy Interceptors now require the Reclusium, which basically the Sacred Artifact kind of building. This is to be more or less in line with the Primaris units from Space Marine and stuff. So it's basically to add an additional requirement to not have like the Primaris and normal variant of a squad, like the in tier 2 you get the Assault Veterans and also the Devastators, for example, which they are the Primaris variants of right away, and you would like, why should I go for the base if I could go the Primaris? And now you have to, if you want to get a Primaris before, you need to build another building basically. The Assault Rhino no longer has an exit delay. This was left over from older versions. It had a delay before units get out, which other Rhinos did not have. Fixed the bug with the Scout Shotguns. They were not behaving as they are meant to behave. The AoE radius and knockback wasn't working, so this got now restored. And as the Scouts already have pretty strong, if not the strongest shotguns of all Scouts, they got a small DPS nerf, and it will be monitored if this is enough, or if the Scouts will be too strong with the shotguns now, there will be further nerfs, but yeah, we will need to see it on a broader spectrum. The Razorbacks are now kept at 4. There are some topics, greater topics, if I can foreshadow it a bit for 8.0, and like to for 7.0 there was the big Rhino and Chimera stuff that should be made more similar, not always the same, but similar around the factions. and there will be something like similar for as 8.0 for the Razorbacks, but yeah, that would need more testing and thought that is not done yet. So yeah, for now they are set to 4. And there's something interesting for Mighty Sanguinius. Only the Tactical, Devastator and Heavy Interceptor Sergeants can be upgraded with rough pistols. I didn't know there were really a thing, but they are. And yeah, this is basically a second research after the plasma pistols, and also requiring a relic, because these graviton guns and stuff most of the time also require a relic or are locked pretty late. So yeah, pretty neat if you ask me. Then for the Chaos Demons next, the Fire Lord, which is the big flamey dragon flyer thingy, is now tier 4, which was actually the intended tier, so this got moved to tier 4. Still requires a relic and a critical location, and can now be trained in campaign. Very nice. The Soul Grinder had a UI thingy where it was stating that it was a relic unit, but it is a tier 1 Titan as intended, so the UI, the unit description got changed. There was a leftover from Scarbrand, the previous Scarbrand coding. He no longer has a shared cap with other greater demons and the Demon Lord. He is a tier 2 Titan and has no shared caps with anyone. There was a bug remaining in the code where the Slaaneshi Fiends, there were in before 7.0 there were like 2 variants of Slaaneshi Fiends, and one was only available if you got Slaaneshi mark and stuff. It was very unintuitive. This got changed, but the leftover from this was that the Fiends do not lose health when you choose Khorne. This is now made basically the same as all the other Slaaneshi units if you use Khorne. They have, I think, 75% of the health instead of 100 or something similar. This is basically for all, or even half, I'm not sure. If you watch my CD guide, you see it. Yeah, you get reduced health if you choose the opposite lord, that is, or opposite god. Scarbrand Warp Storm ability was very expensive, got now cut in half in cost, still very expensive. There's also a thing I want to look through at some point, is the Chaos Demons in general have a lot of abilities which cost power, which I want to look through if they are all justified or not. That's something you may or may not expect in the future. And Infernal Lab now uses the old Chaos Icon model. So so you have this again, a little model change. Here we go over to Chaos Space Marines. The Chaos Marines, the Skull Champion had slower speed than the squad. This got changed, so they are now basically in the same speed as the Berserkers, and he does not get the Slaaneshi quickening research from it, so he's then not faster than the squad, so they stay at the same time. Yeah, the Slaaneshi quickening also affects the Renegade Guardmen now, so they are a little faster on their foot. The Greater Portal, this was something I requested. I think the Chaos Portal didn't have the auras that all the other Chaos Marine buildings, like the Morale Drain and HP Regeneration aura. These are the 2 auras. The Greater Chaos Portal now has this as well. There was a little leftover for the Iskandar Canyon squad mates, which require a critical, because Iskandar Canyon required a critical in the previous version, so this was a little leftover that got fixed. The Heldrick Bale Flamer has now a bigger radius, which is nice. The Flamer does good damage, but it's a big tier 4 flyer, so having a big radius is nice. The Wrecked Knight, which can be summoned in by Iskandar Canyon, has now a longer duration. It's pretty pricey, but it is basically a bloodthirster. So yeah, but having him around for 2 minutes instead of only 1.5 is really nice. And this one is one I really like. The cultists are now led by a corrupted breacher instead of a Chaos Marine aspiring champion. This is only visual, the rest stays the same. I really like this because this aspiring champion for the cultist was always kinda off, because he didn't also, for example, got the plasma pistols, because it is a balancing issue. If you have a lot of cultists with an aspiring champion, plasma pistols would become really strong. So Rake was like, yeah, so just don't give them a plasma pistol, but yeah, makes more sense to have a different leader all the same. Now jumping over to Dark Angels. Dark Angels have now the Razorback, a Storm Bolter, enabled like the rest of the Razorbacks in the mod. Assault, Raton, Power Fist, proper accuracy, slight cost reduction. Okay, there was a little accuracy thing with the Watcher Spotter ability has now a shortcut. This is a general thing you will notice later on, that a lot of missing or conflicting hotkeys also have been adjusted. Gaswing Renewal Dreadnought no longer requires a relic, because there is now a really real relic unit for that branch. So this was he's also not in the tier strength of relic unit overall. Yeah, there was still some remnants of the one-time only buildable mechanic from some of the heroes, especially especially for the company of the battle company. This got now completely removed, which I like, because it's like all the commanders in the mod, even the named characters, you can build multiple times. And yeah, it's now here. But there was now introduced a shared, or reintroduced, I have to say, a shared cap between the chaplain and Asmodai, as the Asmodai is a big chaplain. Basically, you pay more and need an extra research and stuff, so you do not have two chaplains. And similar, this is also for the librarian in Ezekiel. The Promised Judicar, I think, is now available at all times, not only if you're facing the Fallen Angels, and thus he got some balance adjustments. His grenades now require the grenades researches. The executioner blade ability requires weapons of the inner circle to make, he's a tier 2 commander, so to make him a little less powered in the start. And his overall ranged and melee DPS got also reduced a bit. His HP and stuff looks pretty normal, so this was the main concern, that he may be a little too strong. Something I like, the Dark Angel mines, which you normally only had in survival, are also now enabled with the Dark Angel turrets victory condition. So the turrets was normally only in the survival, and it makes sense to also give them the mines if you have this extra condition enabled anyway. And the Vindicator is now intended to limit it to one all across the path. There was only Ravenwing had one, but the other two paths had two, I think. Which is not good in the sense that you make one path better in that sense. For Dark Eldar we do not have much, but what we have is really nice. The Venom thermal lance versus building medium and high got reduced because it was melting buildings pretty fast. You still can only get 2 Venoms, but still. The Nightmare Warp Beast, which is from campaign, no longer states that it can be reinforced to 3. Only, it's 1 unit, so there's one. I think it's even a relic, or what they call Iron Law bug remaining, I don't know, not for sure. And the Reaver jet bikes, that's gonna be interesting, can now be upgraded with shredder rifles and blasters. Shredder rifles are tier 2 and require the accuracy upgrade for the jet bikes, the TPS upgrade, and the blasters are tier 3 even. So the Reaver jet bikes can be made a little more useful in tier 2. They were okay to good in tier 2, but now they can be brought into tier 2 and made more worth to keep alive, basically. Yeah, and there's a lot of things for Death Guard. There was some remaining stuff. There was a lot of bug fixing and moving stuff around in this version 7.0, and there was some stuff missing along the way, and some of it has adjusted, and also some balancing feedback has been taken into account. The first unit is the Plague Bearers, which is generally a unit looked with great care, because you can get it in the path 4 and in the tier 1s, which was an issue for some reasons. There was a bug with the pink icon. If you got the 1 research which gave them back their poison ability, they got the pink icon. And the general idea you will see here, that they are not as strong to begin with, but with upgrades scale a little better later on. For example, the HP got reduced from 800 to 600, but with the first upgrade it goes to 750, and with the second it goes even to 900. So in the end you have more HP, but in the beginning you have lower. This is the general premise. Similar with the HP regeneration, which was really strong at 5, it now is 2. Yeah, and goes, even with the same upgrade, increases to 4, and with the second upgrade to 6. So similar to the HP, in the end you have more, but you start with less. 6th Company, Plague Reaper moved from the Bane Pit to the Cesspit. This, yeah, he was in the Bane Pit for some reason. Now he is where all the related units are in the Cesspit. And there's something really cool here. If you're wondering, the Demon Prince of Nurgle and the Eater of Lives didn't have a lot of abilities, and they replaced either the Lord or the Sorcerer, but didn't take over more or less of his abilities. So, the Prince of Nurgle received now a variant of the Plague Lord's healing ability, Grandfather's Blessing, Grandfather's Favor. It's called. It has lesser healing benefits, but blesses all around it and removes debuffs as well. Received the Suffocating Miasma ability, which causes health degeneration and movement speed reduction to those around the Demon Prince for a period of time. So he has now some new abilities to use. And similarly, the Eater of Lives, as it replaces the Sorcerer, has some abilities now. Deadly Swarm vomits a swarm towards the air, which causes accuracy reduction, health regeneration, so debuff and damage. And also received the Torrent of Pestilence ability, vomits out several plague spores into different areas, which causes heavy damage to those caught. Pretty nice, if you ask me. They I thought there was something missing for those guys, and now they have something to play with them. That's really nice. Typhus the Traveler Necrow is now a relic, as all the Chapter Master kinda units have this relic and are tier 4. The Herald of Nurgle and the Plague Castle no longer share a cap, and the Herald of Nurgle and the Eater of Life no longer share a cap. Basically, the Herald is basically now a 3rd commander you can get instead only 2. Fixed an animation with the Plague Drone when firing on the move. Assault and regular Plague Marines are slightly cheaper now to get, only 10 requisition, but most importantly they do not get more expensive with the disgustingly resilient research, which also added some power costs to them and stuff, so this is now gone. Yeah, so yeah, the team and I will monitor if the cost would need to be reduced even more, but they scale really well, so having some sort of squad tax is, I think, needed for them to make sure you want to keep them alive instead of throwing them away. The Poison Launcher Research no longer available for 4th Company. Yeah, there was like the Poison Launchers are the Rhino smoke kind of thingy for Death Guard, but Company 4 didn't have any Rhinos, so this got now removed, so you do not get the research without getting anything. The Sigil of Decay and Icon of Despair Bearer no longer have a shared cap of 2, but instead a separated limit of 1. Also to not enforce, but to get people to get more varied stuff. Ukare, which is the Great and Clean one, can now also produce glitchings. He was missing that. He could produce all demons. He can now also produce glitchings, which I like. So he has now the full the full palette, the full unit. The Commander Research is for the 4th Company moved from over to the Tribulation Mount from the Temple of Disease. Yeah, there was Commander Researchers were all raised in the Tribulation Mount except for the 4th Company, where they were in the Temple of Disease, because the squad cap increases was now in the Tribulation Mount. So this got swept around. The pop cap increases are all now in the Gift of Repository, so now you have the space, so it is now the same for all. Then yeah, this is a big thing I think for Death Guard. Line of Sight rework. All the troops had like terrible sight ranges, and also the detectors had very low keen sight, basically detection range, so this got changed, so they are more now standard-ish in their sight range. There's no real reason for them having a lower sight range. They are slow already. Why do they need to see not as far? It was not a big hindrance before 7.0 because there was a lot of stuff overpowered to them. Now they've got more online stuff like this comes up and you see it. The leftover squad cap research in the relation mount have been removed as they are on the gift and repository. Yes, similar to this one at the top. Okay, Death Core of Krieg, you see there's also a lot of stuff here. The bunker range upgrades is no longer in the special weapon training, but in the advanced reconnaissance. Basically one research before, still tier 2. And yeah, also makes sense, like advanced reconnaissance, longer range, you know, it makes sense. the Seal reshield, which is something from Eagle Company, which I haven't tried myself yet. Now also reduces the global reinforcement time for more soldiers. Yeah, I need to check the Eagle Command and the Death Core of Krieg stuff. I haven't checked all the Death Core of Krieg stuff in 7.0 yet. The Death Core of Krieg Trench Raiders and Ogres no longer have a shared cap, but have an individual cap of 1, which is basically similar across all the different Guard factions. The KT Blaze Troopers are now tier, and Iron Guard are now tier 2, and instead of tier 3, I think. The Death Corps of Krieg Bombard has now same side range as the Basilisk, and now Death Riders got a little buff, because Death Riders are really expensive, and they are really good for what they do, but they die really quickly and are really hard to reinforce because they cost so much power. So the cost got swapped around. The cost now a little more rack but less power. Same as for the reinforcement. More acquisition, less power, and also the Commissar got its cost changed in the same lines. So they are now a more viable option in tier 2 if you face tanks. Tanks can still try to maneuver out of the way, so they are, yeah, in a sense dependent on the enemy a bit, but even without the melter lances they are now more cost efficient, which is nice. Death Core Krieg power weapons had some missing pen values, basically armor penetration values, so they deal now more damage against certain stuff, especially Demon. Trench Raiders similar, Demon armor penetrations updated, so they are now actually dealing stuff against demons. The Fortify ability now also buffs the mass of the affected units. I think this is the one you get for the heavy weapon teams and the mortars, if they are entrenching or fortifying. It's I think temporary. They now have also increased mass, so they cannot be knocked back as easily because they are entrenched. There's a big rework buff thingy for the sniper team. The sniper team was okay-ish, but it's now like a real sniper team. They have now longer range, and with the spotter even longer range and detection, so they can be used very nice as a reconnaissance unit for artillery and everything. Increased health of the sniper a bit, and reinforced cost increased to make the the reinforced cost, because it was really easy to reinforce once the sniper died, so this is now more according to his initial costs. The armor type of the spotter is now command and has a little more health, so it doesn't die as easily. Some engagement ranges so that it behaves more, and one shot one kill ability gives now a little more side range as well. Death Core of Krieg tank turret has now a higher keen sight, basically detection range, so it can, because it has a big delay on firing, so this now it can target and track better. One thing I really like, the Death Core of Krieg Schutztruppen, survival exclusive unit, are now available with the Eagle Regiment. Basically you can get them in skirmish now. Their crack grenade launchers are now removed, and their regular grenade launchers are now Inferno grenade launchers. The launch gets some flames and stuff, so really nice, I gotta say. And there are a lot of new KT unit. KT units which I really like. They got now I have to check them out. I haven't checked them out, but just the names: Dragon Tank, the Xuanwu Punisher Tank, the Jinglong Gunship, and the Baihu Assault Troop Crawler, and lastly the Sergeant Major Wade Wilson and Brother Logan. Yes, we watched Deadpool. Really nice. I'm looking forward to check those guys out. One of the first things I'm gonna do in the new version also is to make an updated guide for Death Core of Krieg, I tell you what. Some stuff for Eldar, that there's a new voice over for the Striking Scorpions, because they had the same voice over as another unit, so they have now a new one, I think. All Eldar Super Heavies now, as well as the Wave Servant, gained a Holofield ability, which I haven't checked out myself, and a new icon for the Greater Weapons, so more quality of life changes basically. Emperor's Children, not a lot here, but very good of what we have. The Knight got some pink icons for some weapons, this got fixed. And to be or not to be, there's a new model and stuff, because there were Yorha units in the Tekan Shogunate. They had an updated model, so they are now an updated model. And you require a victory condition now, instead of having an opponent of AdMech or Necrons. So this unit is not balanced for PvP, and before you could get it in PvP, so this is now changed to now you get the Daimyo victory condition, which is also the commanders you get in the Take on Shogun are also not balanced for PvP, but more are like units you can get in your skirmish and have some nice units. So this is also a good thing for the competitive scenes. And one thing I also really like, the previously Easter egg land veterans, the Party Rover and the Party Roaster. This one, the Party Rover, I think against Imperial Fists, and the Party Roaster was against Salamanders and Sisters of Battle. They are now always available in the sense that you can get them add-on. Like, I think, I haven't checked it myself, but I think it's similar to how the Salamander Predator has these, like, or basically all the Predator variants have these loadouts you basically can get their add-ons, which not only change one weapons but multiple weapons. Okay, and Fallen Angels. There's quite a lot of things you see in Fallen Angels. In generally, the general feedback was that the power through knowledge pass was a little too weak, as it was too slow and still too pricey for it to get. So in general you see some buffs to this. The power through knowledge production time is no longer 90 seconds but 85 seconds. It doesn't seem like much, but as you need to accumulate 10, 20 and 30 power through knowledge stacks throughout the tiers, this will add up over time to give you a faster attacking progression. There was some autocannon armor penetration got reduced, it was a little too strong. Maria Estelan can now attach, which was the tier 3 commander thing, or even tier 4. Big commander guy I like, he can now attach, which is nice. Fixed the bug with the Thunderhawk because it couldn't land for some reasons. And there's something that was requested as well, which I liked the idea quite a lot. For one of the units, no matter how you tier up, you can now get Rhinos and Razorbacks. The first tier 2 unit that is conditional is either the Dreadnought, if you go like the traditional way, or the Flyer Nephilim. It's not. Is it the Nephilim jet fighter? I think it is the Nephilim jet fighter. You can get if you tagged up with the power through knowledge. But yeah, you see tier. The Rhino now removed the tier 2 requirement, and the Razorback removed the 10% power through knowledge requirement. So if you get a terminus, like the building, the vehicle building, you can get it anyway. And there's something you see here for some other weapons. They can get like flamer emplacements and plasma gun emplacements, or like gunners, and I think a third one as well, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, there was no requirements for the flamer, so an anchorage would be nice. And then you cannot as easily get some plasma guns on all the different vehicles. You want to have at least 5% power through knowledge. Yeah, Razorback removed, and now they changed the requirement of the last cannon to be a little faster. Nephilim Jetfire, similar. You got his last cannons a little too early, so last cannons are now both at 25% power through knowledge. The Dreadnought changed the requirement of the autocannon from tier 3 to tier 2, which is nice. Before it had no ranged weapon options, I think, in tier 2. Now it has. And in tier 3, the autocannon was competing with last cannons and stuff like that. So yeah, autocannon is now more useful. The FA Predator, you see the same thing as for the Rhino. Flamer now requires anchorage, and the Gunner Plasma now 5% power through knowledge, similar to the Land Raider Phobos. This is the Gunner weapons. Reduce the research cost of all hands to the pumps to only 100 requisition. This is the research that gives you some free zealots if a cantonment, an armory, and a barracks, or an anchorage, or a listening post dies. And zealots only cost like 150 requisition, so and you need to lose a building for it. So this is now made more viable in a sense to just, I mean, okay, it's only 100 requisition, just get it, and maybe it gets used, maybe it does not get used, so it's not as punishing, quote unquote, to get it, because power in the early game is always something you want to handle very specially, I guess. For the FA Havocs, there was some stuff that got changed around a bit from the weapons. The rocket launchers now require 10% power through knowledge, which is similar to the heavy weapon teams. They have also rocket launchers, and the squad itself requires 10% power through knowledge. From the last cannon and autocannons, the 5% power through knowledge to requirement got removed. This most importantly is for the autocannons. You now, I think, can immediately get autocannons in tier 2. You do not have to wait for 5% power through knowledge. And the last cannons, I think, are tier 3 if I'm not mistaken, and also do not require power through knowledge. Heavy weapon teams, the Renegade Guard heavy weapon teams, that is. Change the requirement of the autocannon, yeah, similar to here, from tier 3 to tier 4. They had an autocannon in tier 3 and those guys had it in tier 2, so they are now more similar. And we moved the tier 2 requirement from the rocket launcher. So basically the rocket launcher is your power through knowledge anti-vehicle in tier 2 unit, and the autocannon is your taking up regularly auto anti-vehicle in tier 2. You have some other anti-vehicle options, so the autocannon normally is more like good against everything, but yeah. The chaplain got moved to tier 2, so now you can get, similar to other Space Marines and stuff, you now can get 3 commanders in tier 2. You have the it's the company master, I think it's called, like the force commander variant. Then you have the sorcerer, which is more or less the librarian, the sorcerer, and then the chaplain. So you have your 3 kings available in tier 2 again. The anchorages got increasing costs got reduced a bit, so they still cost more power the more you have, but the requisition got reduced a bit, which also adds up quite a bit because it was cumulative. Before, the first one only cost like 50, I think, like really cheap, or 75 or something, and the second one even got 75, 75, 75. Now it's only 50, 50, 50, which saves you quite a lot of resources requisition wise later on. The power is still intended, so it's not as cheap, and the anchorages was a little too easy to be sniped, so the HP got increased a bit, so you have more time to react if someone wants to snipe your anchorages. If this is too much, it will be reduced again a bit, but yeah, we will see how it pans out. There was some the tier 1 Titan and the tier 2 Titan research got the cost reduced. They were already a little cheaper than your regular research, but got reduced even more because for Fallen Angels, for the tier 1 Titan buildings, that is for Fallen Angels, they also require 50% power through knowledge, and the tier 2 Titan also requires 50% power through knowledge. So it is a little easier now to get to tier 1 Titans and tier 2 Titans with less resources spent. One thing that was really powerful was like plasma pistol immediately with the workers or the standard bearers or company masters, stuff like that, company champions, whatever it's called, force commander basically. So these now require a listening post, so you cannot immediately build an anchorage, quickly click the button and have the plasma pistols available right away. You would now at least wait for the first tick of 85 seconds. With the building time, I think it's about minute 2, 2.5. With the research time, 2.5, 3 minutes. Now you can have plasma pistols instead of minute 1, basically, or minute 1. It would be like that, minute 2 or something. Lord weapons are now probably buffed by the commander research, and I think there's also now a second commander research enabled. It was disabled for some reasons. The Raptors now can be upgraded with power swords in tier 2, which is really nice. Reinforcements and survival now should come correctly, because before they only could be reached by the quote-unquote normal tier up, and there was also a little remnant that the tier 2 reinforcements wasn't coming as intended, so their reinforcements are now good. And there's a new voiceover for the Zealots. I heard it's pretty good. You should check it out. Maybe there's one of your favorite YouTubers who have done this. Maybe not. Farsight Enclaves. The Farsight Enclaves also received some nerfs. I have seen that they can be beaten, but are still very strong, of course. Many consider it the strongest. But I have seen them beaten as well, so it depends on the matchup really much. But yeah, one thing that got nerfed was the Orca summon recharge. It started with 180 seconds, is now 210 seconds. There's still these wave band research, which reduces the cooldown each by 30 seconds, so it will go lower over the time. But yeah, for the second commander now hits 30 seconds later, which also means your second unit Orca comes later and stuff like that, so it's a little too reduce the tier 1 impact of all the commander stuff. The Harlequin grenade launchers got reduced because they're really strong. The general adjustments to the economy. There was some stuff that was meant to be lower on the economy part than it was in game. There was some stuff changed along the way, either by some mistake and stuff. So this is now amended, so the economy is now a little less strong. Like a lot of people saying it was like super strong, and I found out why that is, and it is got now adjusted. So the economy is now for reals more similar to standard factions. The economy is more acquisition favored. That is still the case because the only way to get power is your Orca drops. So yeah, this remains the same, but you do not get as much requisition overall. This is basically the big you can take from it. The crisis suit shoulder missile pods got reduced in damage. I think they already got reduced, but yeah, got reduced further because the crisis suit is still the go-to tier 2 unit. It is really pricey, and yeah, now it is the missile pods was one of the things that was like, I don't need any anti-vehicle because I have these pods, so they are now not as strong as before. All heroes have a jump range of 40 instead of 50 and only start with 1 jump prepared instead of 2. It's really nice. For the Harlequins, just a few adjustments. The Vampire Raider armor type was vehicle high for some or I think it was air high, which is not used and not really functioning. So it's now air med and vehicle high when landed, like all the big flyers that can land. And the mimes, because they are really strong in the beginning. You could see it in the UGL, you can see it in your games you play as well. So the reinforcement cost got a little increased to make it less cheap, basically, to maintain a mime spam, but will be monitored. If the mimes still present to be so strong, there will be some more nerfs incoming, but for now this was the way it is tackled. The Demon Hunters, there's a slight rework for the Demon Hosts, mainly their heal ability was a little weak in a sense. Now it is stronger. You can, because they have no natural regeneration, so you need to use the re-knit ability. So it now, I think it has a low cooldown and heals more, something like that. Yeah, the Grainer Tech Marine, upon his commander research, got infantry armor type back, so this got changed. So he has now commander armor all the way. The grenade research for the grenades are like super expensive, so they got reduced in cost a bit. They are still more expensive than the regular grenade research, but you get more grenade variants with them, including melters in tier 1. But still, it's not like you get super much squads out anyway which uses grenades. I mean, every squad more or less uses grenades, but you have lower squad counts in general for the most part. Lesser Demon Host got a new icon, so I haven't seen it. I'm really looking forward to it. Cherubael, the big demon host, now gains the re-knit ability, so he can heal a bit better. And yeah, there was still a 5% chance of him getting into the level 3 demonology research just got removed. But in return he is now easier to get with the tier 4 research. It was 6%, is now 10%. I think it was even a little lower than 5% before on tier 3, level 3, so this is not really noticeable, while this is. And when you're in tier 4 and did go for the demon host, you're missing a lot of units, so getting him is a good idea. Maintenance servitors, one of the least used units, are now not costing any power, because this was the biggest holdback for them. They are relatively tanky, especially if you got the upgrade later on, and can deal some solid building damage, so you can have them as listening posts, snipers. Snipers, they are slow, you know, but they have a purpose in that. But you couldn't build them because they would drain your power and you would never get to tier 2. Now you can use them. This is mainly used or usable in a librarian opener, which I think is now more viable overall for the Inquisition pass. Demonology researches tier 1 and 2 now require tier 2. This is more like a general adjustment, doesn't change a whole lot for your general gameplay. The Stormhawk less talent now has the same range as all the other weapons, so this is a slight buff to the Stormhawk, but not much. The Stormhawk, yeah, I think we need to see how the Stormhawk in general works out now. I think it is a really nice unit. A little expensive and stuff, but we will see. Nothing to change now. The Land Raider Redeemer right now additionally requires a relic instead of only a critical. This is similar to the other super heavy units you have for other factions. Now it is basically made the same. I think it is now also a little cheaper, but I need to check that. Grandmaster Kaldor Drago has now increased HP to be more similar to other chapter master like heroes. Yeah, the HP was relatively low, now it is in tip-top shape. The rival reinforcement stormtroopers and Cranite strike teams now use their campaign Honor Guard analogs. Yeah, because before they were like normal stormtroopers and normal Cranite strike teams, but now they are the Honor Guard variants, which also allow you to get something if you go for Cranite. Before Stormtrooper reinforcement, if you did go for Granites and also the strike team, were like, yeah, you can use them or you can just delete them. They are no real use for you. Now they have some use, and yeah, really nice that they are now in now. Imperial Fists. The Rapier laser destroyers can now target aircraft as intended. Engagement range, so it actually functions, and the build time got reduced a bit, so it's now generally a good anti-air unit as well. The listening post add-ons, not the fortifies, the add-ons, the weapon add-ons got reduced in cost because they are quote-unquote only get weapons on it. I mean, the less cannon is still very strong on it, but not for the most time not worth the big power, so it got reduced a bit. And also the plasma cannon upgrade was super expensive for what you get, so this got changed as well. Heavy bolter turrets didn't have penetration values for building, so this got adjusted. The siege marines, which are now called Breacher siege marines, which like sound a whole lot better if you ask me, now have a pop cost only of 2 instead of 3, because they were nerfed to be like more supportive units in the previous patch, but their pop cost was still 3, so they are now 2, so you can get them and get more actually fighting units like Space Marines or Assault Marines in conjunction with them, instead of having like, I got 2 siege marines, so I have only 4 pop cap left, so I can only get 2 marines. Now you can get 3. New win condition, Crimson's Fist. This got showcased by Calculus the other day, and this is really nice. I hope this is a thing we will see more in the future, because now we have a win condition, Crimson Fists, which exchanges some units in the Imperial Fist. It is not completely balanced for PvP yet, but the idea is that it will be balanced in the next version, so that you have a choice in the beginning before you play Imperial Fist, if you go like this quote-unquote standard Imperial Fist, or if you go in the Crimson Fist round, where it exchanges some units. You can think of it similar to if you watch some Age of Empires 4, where you have like these sub-factions of the Chinese, the Sun Tzu's stuff, or that you have for the Abbasid dynasty, you have the, or what is it called? You have like these variants, and this is similar in a way. So what you get a Crimson Fist veteran intercessor with a Primaris Apothecary, replaces the heavy assault intercessor squad. In addition, the hospital is no longer available because it's like Imperial Fist exclusive. I'm not a big lore guy, so this most of the time has lore implications why this is. Chapter Master Petro Cantor of the Crimson Fist acts now as the chapter master like the rest of the mod. You cannot quote-unquote possess the siege captain to get Tor Garadon, which is now not longer available. Tor Garadon and Alexandro are no longer available. You can get the chapter master Petro Cantor in addition to your siege captain. The Stormhawk replaces the Whirlwind Scorpius, basically a flyer against of the Whirlwind. Venerable Hellfire Dreadnought replaces the regular Venerable Dreadnought, and no longer is like the interaction with Alexandro. The legendary Rin Might Land Raider replaces the Land Raider, so you have like this changes. And there's a new research Devastator Doctrine which replaces Siege Masters, because Siege Masters is more Imperial Fists, and the Devastator Doctrine seems to be more Crimson Fists. Certain upgrades become available only fighting Orks or Praetorian. Interesting. I need to check this one in particular as well. So I'm really liking this, because if this is something we can see more or stuff like that, you have like these sub chapters, these sub factions you can choose before you start a game. Really liking it a hell of a lot. Oh my god, we're already 45 minutes in and I'm not even halfway down. Jesus Christ. Okay, Imperial Guard. The medic now requires a tactical control. This is generally to make that you have basically 2 commanders from your barracks and 2 commanders from your tactical control. Like you get the commissar and the standard bearer from your barracks, and you now get a medic and a psycho, basically if you get the tactical control. Each regiment stuff being added. The Griffin has now add-on mine dispensing rounds, nice. The Basilisk has new add-on to cluster bomb rounds. Earthshaker platform. The Earthshaker platform gets a new add-on to the fire napalm rounds. Cadian interior grounds. This is the special units you can get once you have the unit out. Have now new voiceover, the Peace Break gunship as well, nice. General Storm returns. Okay, for you lore guys, this is probably neat. And the Praetorian Guard, this is the other victory no longer requires a critical location, which I like. Were really hard to get before. Now that I have recorded all my IG Let's Play, this got added. Still very good. Legion of the Damned got some slight buffs and some slight nerfs and stuff. I myself have a plan for some more stuff for 8.0, but yeah, for now this is the changes you have here, and let's see what they are. The Legionary ability, which allows them to get away for a bit and come back, which basically helps them to survive early on, has now a lower duration. They are back faster, and also a slower cooldown, so you can use it generally more often. And yeah, they are no longer as long away. The LPs now increase the production speed, the ability you have there, by 5% instead of 3. Doesn't sound like a lot, but as it accumulates, the more listen posts you have, you can now actually feel the effects of it. Before it was 3% is basically nothing, so 5% is something you can actually feel. The Terminators are very strong. They're more or less untouched, but the initial cost, the initial squad size is now 2 instead of 3, and the maximum squad size is reduced to 5. The Assault Terminators also have only 5 maximum, but now also have the 2 start. This in general means if you produce them and you deep strike them, they are not as strong in the beginning. You need some time, and time is like basically the resource for Legion of the Damned to get a full squad, which then in turn is a very strong combatant. So this now reduces the impact they immediately have, basically. The Guilty Burn Brightly now upgrades Atticus and Durus with a plasma pistol and power sword, replacing his default bolt pistol and chainsword. So he now scales a bit better, which I like, because before, after tier 2 and stuff, he kind of fell off. The Legion of Damned now have turrets and mines by default. The mines were default anyway, but the turrets are now default as well, so there are no victory conditions for it. And the builders now have a sabotage ability called Ludicy, so they now can stun vehicles and buildings, I think, which can make them really annoying but very good as well. So they have now a use in the beginning, so you can interact more in tier 1. Basically before, tier 1 was very low key, you couldn't do a lot, and yeah, could maybe fall over in tier 1 already or be very good in tier 1 already, and stuff like that helps. Like that you can now generally build turrets and have this ability to make a bit up for it more. I have some ideas, but yeah, for now we need to see how these turn out in the grand scheme of things. Necrons, not a lot. The Necron Scorpic Destroyer volume got reduced a bit. Yeah, they had a really nice VO, but it was a little high on the ears. And the Death Marks summoned by the Canoptic Spider now need more corpses, because you cannot cap units from the summoning from the spiders. Generally the Death Marks are limited to 2, but you can circumvent the limit if you have 2 already by the spider, so you can get even 3 or 4, I think, even more. yeah, so this is now getting harder because you now need more bodies for it. Changes for the Tyranids as well. The acclimatization researches were, I think, a minute, even in tier 1, so this was, especially in tier 1 terms, this is really long. So they got now a little scaling, similar to most tier 1 researches take about 30 seconds, so the tier 1 acclimatization for Gauns, Gene Stealers and Lictors now only takes 30 seconds. The second tier acclimation research for the second tier for Gauns, Gene Stealers and Lictors, as well as the first xenotype research is now 45 seconds. And lastly, all the stuff here is now 60 seconds. I think the without number researches are still very long, which is intended, of course. Gargoyles now point to correct voice over, so there was something with it. This is something I'm really interested to see how it turns out. There's now a Tyranid Bio-Wane turret victory condition, win condition, which enables you to build turrets. The survival only turrets, which were absolutely overpowered, they got now reworked so that they are no longer, as you say, overpowered, but rather more in line with different turrets in the mod. And you now can get turrets. They still cost, or I think they got increasing cost. They were like 12 influence, I think, before. They're now at least 15. So yeah, interesting, very interesting, very interested to see how turrets and stuff pan out in actual games. And here we have Night Lords, and you see there's a hell of a lot of stuff. Barbatos got not free reign, but he was allowed to do some stuff for the Night Lords in, of course, the team. It's always a team. It's not one person. It's always the team that decides and discusses about stuff. So, autocannon turret accuracy increased a bit. Okay, added accuracy researches. So it no longer only have like the tankiness researches, so more damage. Added Terror of the Night research, a high increase of morale damage for infantry. I think it's tier 3 or something, so they are now more Night Lord-y. Silent Running Jets adds Feral Leap for all Raptor variants now. This is also tier 2 or tier 3 research. I'm not sure what the final thing was for them. But before, people don't get it because they were like, yeah, infiltration, there are a whole lot detectors against Night Lords anyway, so not getting it. It's still relatively pricey, but now it's very good thing for all the Raptors. Purge is now Talent of Murder, lesser health gain but exchange for more morale damage. Yeah, because before you had like Purge and Bionics, so they were really tanky. They are now less tanky but more damagey, also Nightlaw way. Included Symbol of Fear for the Captain and Krieg Archivos. This is the Demon Prince thingy. Corresponding Lord researches like We Come For You and Shadow of Naspo are moved up a tier. Okay. Reworked smoke launchers into fear gas launchers, which I really like, not normal smoke launchers. Nightfall protocols upgrade added install stealth drives, so all Rhino jets vehicles. Wow. I'm interested to see what tier this is. It's quite a while that this got added and I haven't checked it out myself because I don't have the beta installed right now. Warp talents can now be upgraded with a champion and deep strike from the air. That's very nice. The warp talents before hadn't much going for them. They're really strong in general, but they're like a squad and that's it. Now they have even a champion and can deep strike from the air. I think they also get melter bombs. Scout Raptor HP reduced a bit because they were really tanky for what they are. As they benefit from the health reaches, so they get really tanky. They are now getting less tanky because, of course, there was generally HP reduction in the beginning, and also the Purge weak is a little lower. Reworked Decimus into a Chapter Master style commander that moved up to tier 4. Health increases, new abilities, Porrent Outer Prophecy and Premonition. Premonition. Okay. Removed him from the Champion Fear Aura, which is a ability you can get. Speed of Decimus, future self buff. Decimus future can now prophecy. Okay, can now also use this. Change Decimus to have his own unique weapon profiles instead of the standard ones. Increased cost, of course, and increased production time. So he is now really a unit. Rework Raptor Champion Ryan's ability Berserk Fruit into Swift Strike. Keeps the penalties of the Berserk, like getting more damage and stuff, in exchange for doubling melee charge range and increased speed and attack speed instead of damage. So basically, attack speed is also damage, but yeah, it is different now. Reduced lightning claw penetrations from warp talents against building times, because they before could snipe buildings, so they are now less prone to do that. Added the spawn animation for raptors and warp talents like the rest of similar units. Really nice, really nice. So they are coming from the sky. Fixed the issue of automations are not having a stealth cover. Okay, this was one guy. Night Sisters and Havocs get Nightmare Grenades instead of frag grenades. Nice. Because they were like the only units getting frag grenades before. Night Sisters may now be upgraded with Night Sister Champion. Very nice as well. Regionalized ability UI placement for all heroes. Okay, this is some generally quality of life changes to make all the abilities that got changed and added a bit better. The Hell Talent Biotoxin Bomb reworked to a Night Flash Smoke Bomb. So it no longer has this Biotoxin Bomb, but it has like these blinding bomb and increased damage output against enemy squads by creating negative cover on their locale. Wow, I liked it. Not sure if the negative cover infiltrates units. I do not think this is possible. I asked that in the Night Lords beta if you could have some ability that creates negative cover somewhere, and then the negative cover trait comes in, but this is engine-wise not possible. So I think this is more like by creating negative cover, basically the enemy takes more damage, but you cannot quote-unquote create negative cover or positive cover anywhere. It is a visual that does exactly that. What do we have here? Added a new squad, Possessed Night Lord Marines. Oh nice, Possessed now also in tier 3, becoming better now. Night Lord squads are new custom naming themes of theirs. It's not the something like the Terror Squad was still called Night Lord Tactical Marines or something. So they're now having more custom names and stuff. For Orks, not much, but something. The bigger mech shop can now garrison infantry units like other Ork buildings, which is similar to how the Chaos Marine building now has the aura. Knobs have now the correct size. There was some issue with the size going on, and many people noticed that, including myself. Now they are back to the normal size. And this is something more for the future, but people can be hyped about. Campaign Honor Guard Big Mech is now Wasmaka, Gorgard's Big Mech from the lore. As a custom model is planned in the future version. For now it's not just a name, but he will get a cool model in the future. Yeah, a lot of stuff for Praetorian Guard as well, you can see here. The Convicts morale system reworked, so they do no longer break morale without an officer. Instead they lose control in general if morale is broken. So this is changed because before it was not really working, because once they got a parole officer, it would no longer lose control with morale broken and stuff like that. So this is now, the parole officer increases their base morale, but if he's killed the rest of the squad, immediately morale broken. So yeah, in addition of this, their cost has been increased to 9 requisition instead of from 15. There was some, I think this is the overall squad cost, I'm not sure, but yeah, they are now more pricey because they're really tanky. And the parole officer now requires the sergeant, the same requirement as the sergeant. Ork bunkers now properly transport units because there was meant to be a tunneling system for them and it wasn't working, it seems. And the listing post now can also tunnel. The plasma generators had very low HP and were built really fast. Now they have standard HP and standard build time, so you cannot have a power explosion, but they can also not be sniped as easily. The Ork turret is really strong. It's now a little less strong, still very strong because of the long range and everything, but should now not kill as much stuff as fast. Fix the bug with the regular Lascan having no fire on the move penalty. It now has. Squig bombs is now really nice, I think. They are no longer 3-member squad, but 1 squig. And the squig costs, instead of the squad costing 105, like we have 35 requisition, for each model is now 50 requisition and 1 model. So you still have these detectors for the Ork path, and you still also have the explosion, but yeah, it's really more like go in, explode, and get the next squad. So yeah, really liking that. There's something, yeah, I need to check, I think, as well. The lieutenant was a little low on many things. Now he has more DPS, HP, and morale and stuff. Mortar emplacement moved to tier 3, so you no longer have a tier 1 mortar, but it's now a tier 3 with all the benefits for getting a higher tiers, basically, like it immediately has longer range and stuff, I think. Regular last guns have now a higher accuracy but lower pens on buildings, and commanders a little bit increased. The tank aces have now normalized cost. I think they both cost now the same, got a little longer to build, and they now require Uncommon Valor, which is a tier 1 or tier 2 research, so you need to get it before you want to get them. So basically, yeah, getting a new layer for them to get them, make them a little more expensive and time consuming to get. Fix the bug with the mortar and anti-tank teams being too fast. They are now 12 as intended. Ork commandos moved to tier 3. I think they were tier 4 before, now they're tier 3, so you can get them earlier, and yeah, really nice. Plug X big shooters limited to 2, so before they were limited to 4, now only the shooters are limited to 2, but the generally heavy weapons are still 4, so you can add some rocket launchers in tier 2, for example, also to the squad. The Stomper can now shoot its Zap Head Ice, probably. The Medic aid station healing reworked. Before they were like multiplicative, and with units only having low HP, this is now, yeah, not very useful, so it got changed to a +3, and it's the aid station, and Medic gives +2. Is this stacking, however, is the question. The Sacred Company, the tier 4 building, has now high HP because it could be sniped very easily before. Still can be sniped, but not as easily anymore. The Plug Axes were too speedy. They have now the normal speed as intended. Another nerf to the big Orks, the good Orks basically. Mortar emplacement reload decreased. Bombard field gun add-on reload increased. And yeah, it's now basically a big old Earthshaker kind of thingy. The Chimera got renamed for some lore reasons. The tier 3 also for lore reasons, and the Vehicle Forge got a little higher on the HP. Not as easily sniped basically. And the Twinning Heavy Bolters are visually changed to Twinning Gatling Guns because they're like suppressing and stuff, which is a trait of a Gatling gun. Whew. And yeah, going further, the Renegade Guard. Daemon Phoenix is no longer broken morale once Alice falls in battle, which is the little how you call it by superheroes, the sidekick basically. The Daimon also gets the damage buff instead. Disabled movement and more vulnerable. Okay, interesting. The Striker Sentinel missiles knockback has been reduced. The Dark Ronin HP got reduced. The armor got standardized and the power cost reduced. Giga Fortress Iberian Protocol reworked. Not sure what this is about, but yeah, it's now reworked. The Sudden Cabrera smoke launchers have now a longer reload time because they are firing this smoke stuff that doesn't deal damage, but I think reduces enemy accuracy and stuff like that, so they are now firing less often. The Inner Circle Territorium build time to 30 seconds instead of 12.5, so the first commanders come out a little later. The first commander, like the Eternal Shogun, is now 20 seconds later on the field. Basically an indirect nerf to her. Tekken Warriors. Grenades require the Renegade Tactica. This was meant in the first place, but yeah, now they do not start with grenades initially. You do not need to research the grenades, but you need the Tactica. Initial build cost increased a bit as well. Tekken Warrior War Correspondent. Default armor type changed to Infantry Med. Becomes a commander upon finishing the second morale research. It's now affected by the tainted armor research, and the build time got reduced. Ballista damage and reinforcement cost increased, and reinforcement time. So they cost more power and take longer to get a full squad. Likewise, the cost for the Onomusha, which is the leader, also increased. Reduced Tango General's summon Tricabra recharge ability from, so she can summon the 3 Blood Cult Assassins more often. Second Spect Granda Stalker moved to tier 3 instead of tier 2. This is, I think, the big walker thingy. Fix the bug where Rexian heavy weapons and tech and heavy teams upgrade did not work. Okay, this is now fixed. Animation bug for Rangers. Fix the bug with Grand Gucci Aura. Not enable her health regeneration. Okay, bug fixes. Target an Octip Warrior and Plasma Wrist Pistol Warrior research cost exchanged. The former costs and the latter. Okay, this got now the real cost they need. The turtle stealth ability got reduced in cost quite a bit. They are now actually viable. New Katana as a fix for Renegade Guard. Nice. Merbian 6. The Scab Gunners can now upgrade it with plasma guns in addition to long last rifles. Thank Matt Ward for this. Thanks, I guess. New Honor Guard model for the Taken Warriors in the campaign. Really nice. They are also available in the Taken Field Dojo should you have completed the Veteran Field Surgery research and have to change the channel. Interesting. New ability for the Tactica as Taken in tier 4. Interesting. Deploys mortar cannon within range. Nice. 1 per deployment, expensive, and requires a relic. Yeah, tier 4 relic emplacement basically. Reaction side, the Infernus tank is now a new unit, and which requires Mark of Siege to be selected. And I really like this one, Oni Ogren squad. This is gonna be awesome. The Khan side requires Mark of Khorne, so at least tier 3 and a Mark of Khorne, of course. New unit available only in campaign is the Targia cannon. Okay. And a new ability available in the campaign for the pulse scanner, Aurora Neutron Bomb Attack. I really like the name. Come on, this is really nice. Added a storm column. Guys, this is so awesome. New tier 4 super defense structure for the Tekan branch. Requires the KT reinforcements, of course, because it's like a little homage. Added the Rage Inducer, a new tier 4 support defense structure for the Vexian branch. Requires the type Seahawks. And added a new victory conditions, Ghost of Damocles. Should the Shogun or any of the other versions fall in battle, death shall not be the end of hers just yet. The victory conditions also allows a new hero for the Vexian side. Okay, interesting. More unit stuff. I'm looking forward to the Renegade Guard guides when they came. Whew. Now from Renegade Guard to the Raven Guard, the Dreadnought less cannon firing fix. There was some misalignment, I think, with the weapon. Stealth also costing now less. Stern Guard aim animations remade because I think they were aiming somewhere else. The Land Speeder, the Land Speeder Storm, which is really nice. It's still very strong, but now a little more expensive. The Storm Hawk last talent range increased a bit. Dark Fury Assault Squad, which is still very strong, now costs a little more to get and to reinforce. This is like in small steps to see if it's now more balanced. Brother Captain, the tier 1 commander, is now no longer like a copy of the Force Commander with a jetpack. It now has lower health, has lower stun chance, and later on with the Demon Hammer has lower stun and disableability chances as well. And Skullwolves can now jump, so they are no longer fitting in the whole jumpy business. If needed, there will be more adjustments to the chaplain and stuff later on, but in tier 1 it's most important to have the Force Commander, the Brother Captain, be a model more nerfed a bit, that it is not as super strong, because before it was like a Force Commander with jetpack, so now it's not. Salamanders, something that a lot of people were complaining about, that the tactical melters were too weak. Now they are more in line with others, which is really nice. So the Salamanders, the tactical opener, like the one I like, the typical tactical opener with grenades, which then in tier 2 you will add Razorbacks and stuff too, I think. Now have a proper anti-vehicle with these melters. Zikan Venator Pens versus vehicles and buildings got buffed. Primaris Eradicator's multi-melter has its max range increased a bit. The Flamer research from the Force Commander, now properly viable upgrade for over the default bolter, so basically the Flamer got buffed for it. And the Salamander Rapier Destroyer now can target aircraft units, similar to the Rapier stuff from the Imperial Fists. Steel Legion over here. The listening posts now have the tunneling system and the weapons from it working. They can now tunnel and stuff. Now the defensive in tier 1 is a little easier for them. The Inferno gun for the Bane Blade was a bug fixed and reduced in range. Flaming burning duration slightly increased. Proper icon. The Iron Saint range increased a bit. And the Wrath Riders. I was complaining quite a lot, and not a lot of people were using them because they were too expensive. They are now a little easier and to get in the beginning, and most importantly, this is minor, this is big. No longer cost power to reinforce, which is, oh my god, you can now use Wrath Riders again in tier 1, because before you would hinder your tier 2 progression so much because they are tanky, but they don't deal a lot of damage. And if you need to reinforce them, they hinder your tier 2 progression. And then you can get Melter Bombs in Melter Weapons. I think this is tier 3, Melter Weapons research. So even in later phases, you can now have fast Wrath Riders with Melter Bombs. Really nice. Chimeras, Helldowns, Wyverns, Thrones, Mechanicus now probably showed their armored skirts. So this is a visual stuff which I like. Ordunatus Nova Cannon Pens versus Vehicle increased. This is like the tier 1 Titan, tier 1, 2 Titan, I think, yeah. Nahida weapons reworked. Veteran Legionaries. Come on, these are nice. Their battle rifle is now replaced with a Volkite caliber upgrade. Requires tier 4, of course. Remastered and expanded their voiceover. Really nice. New unit added to the Armored Fistbrands, the Standard Bearer, and also the Lucius or Luteus Pattern Chimedon. Yeah, really interested to see what they are. The Standard Bearer is really nice to have, and in general really nice units. Space Marines. A lot of people complaining that Gabriel Angelos didn't go its Thunderhammer. He has now got it back. The Devastators can now upgrade with a Graviton gun instead of a Graviton cannon instead of a Graviton gun. This is pure visual change, but yeah, it looks really nice now. Fixed the bug with the heavy bolter turret now having penetration values against buildings. Buffed Cures the campaign, and yeah, it's more like a Vindicator now. Martellus Command Honor Guard now has vehicle repair aura and stuff like that. Really nice. SM Predator add-ons properly renamed. So nice, there was some stuff over here. Sisters of Battle. The Hunter Killer Missile has now a range of 100, like all the other Hunter Killer missiles in the mod. The name got rechanged to be more lore accurate. Fixed the bug with the Fire Thought where it is intended AoE damage was not properly applied. Okay. The Fire Thought is the Fire Bane Blade you can access if you have. I think you need a victory condition for them, otherwise it's survival exclusive. The Sisters of Silence had some stuff. They are survival exclusive, of course. They no longer accept attachments and now can be upgraded with stake crossbows. And the Sister superior ranged and melee weapons now are proper. There were some bugs with them. The Tower, the Stealth Burst Cannon Emplacements. I think this is the upgrade for the... No, I'm not really sure what this one is exactly. I should look it up. I think it's for the... is it for the stealth suits, I think? Stealth, yeah. Now requires either the barracks or auxiliary center. Before it was the barracks, I think. Yeah, yes, you know the barracks. And Greater Norlock does some more morale damage now. Like a hell of a lot. But it attacks really slow, yeah, so... It is a big chicken. I mean, who wouldn't be afraid of it? 13th Company. Also a very strong faction before. Now there was a bug that the scrap research actually increases the requisition income, which was not intended. This got yeeted. The Hall of Knowledge now has an increased cost. The more Hall of Knowledges you have, so you have a slower eco explosion. Similar to this, the Chaos Gate HQ now costs a little more. The second one and third one and so on. The smoke launchers, the smoke grenades from the infantry has now a slower reduced duration, so you need to use it more often and cannot use as much frag grenades in between. The Stormclaw bikes. Bikes are always interesting in the mod and in Dawn of War, so they got changed a bit because their chainswords were like not having penetration stuff. They are now more like Space Marine chainswords. Reduce the reload time of the drilling quota, so they are now dealing actual damage. The Stormclaw Sergeant speed increased because he was a little slower than the speed, and the Sergeant also has more HP now. Stormclaw Terminator Wolf Priest has now more HP, and the Stormclaw Pack Leader armor type changed from commander to heavy infantry high. Stormclaw Pack, okay, he was a commander, this wasn't intended. General 13th Company Cryo Gun weapons reworked, yeah, they were a little on the stronger side, so they now got reworked how they work. They still reduce enemy armor, but how often they apply it and duration and stuff like that, a whole lot of rework should be more balanced now. Fixed the Buckler Clay Layer, Melter Guns. Okay, there was some fire to move stuff with them. Thousand Suns. We have now again some stealth add-ons for the turrets is now cheaper and more viable in that. Venerable Rubik Dreadnought is a detector, which is nice. Not the Sorcerer Dreadnought, it is the Venerable Rubik Dreadnought, the tier 4, I think, Dreadnought. The Rhinos could hold like 4 cultists and stuff, which was a bit silly. This guard now changed to be more standard, and the cultist plasma pistols now have no longer 0 penetration values. Vostroyan Firstborn, the medic now requires a radar tower, so we have like more incentive now to get a radar tower early on. The Hunters, your beginning squad reinforcement costs some requisition and 10 power. It's now only 5 power, so there you go. Being a little more easier to get them. Commissar Execution damage bonus reduced from 2.5 to 2, so it's nerfed by quite a bit. Fixed the modifier related bug with infiltration research, and Volkov remains more broken for longer should Shitskoi fall in battle. Witch Hunters. Salad is now a commander, so that's why she died so often. Now she is a commander, so it should be more valid. The K9 unit melee reworked. Third stealth upgrades also reduced. Battle Sisters got a bit buffed, more or less reducing the nerf they had before, like in the reinforcement cost. They still cost a bit more. Increase the default, like the initial cost is a little bit more. Increase the default bolter weapon versus infantry. Infantry heavy high pens, okay? Against Terminators and stuff. Dragonage damage increased to be a little more like the Space Marines. Cherubim Choir got a lot cheaper because it's like, for what you get, they have a little, very low HP and stuff, and they're now a little cheaper to get and to maintain. Similar to this, Emulator and Castico Multimelder cost 100 requisition, 100 power to get, so this got reduced as well. So you can get actually afford it. The Celestians Light of the Emperor, Act of Faith, which is a one that makes your unit invulnerable for quite some time, is now tier 3. The research is moved to tier 3. The duration got reduced and the cooldown got reduced. You can have it more often, but for a lower amount of time, and it requires tier 3 now, and generally nerfed to it a bit. Retributor Multimelder upgrade moved from tier 4 to tier 3. The Multimelder was tier 4 for some reason. So in generally you had an issue as anti-vehicle stuff. Upgrade Standard Power Lift Combat Claws remade to be similar to the same as the SM Dreadnought, so they are now actually fearful of the versus vehicles, slightly versus buildings, and normalized versus all infantry types. Before you had this power lifter that could use these melee weapons, but they making it super slow in the movement. It wasn't really fast before, but the damage wasn't really there. So now you have actually the Sentinels that can be used to some effect in melee. You might think, oh my god, and now I can now deep strike them and kill vehicles. They're still not the most tankiest units around. So yeah, we need to see how strong they are now for reals. I'm interested to see how people will use it. Ynnari, the Scud Hatch Wraith Knight. The Death Shroud Cannon gets a small AoE and increased damage against infantry and demons. Shoulder Brightlands vehicle pens improved a bit, significantly vehicle high. The Vampire Raider, Twin Pulse Lasers, small buff against vehicles. Removed the 3 pop cap on the landed version. There was a little bug with the that the landed version has some different pop cap than the flyer. Ynnari Sweeping Hawk now take low damage against buildings low and medium, so they no longer can Knight buildings as easily, and the Exarch has a little lower accuracy, reducing its overall damage a bit. The Witch melee weapons normalized to be kin of the Dark Elder ones. Most importantly, the morale damage is now reduced. And the Dark Matter Blaster pants for buildings changed a bit. Building Met reduced, Building High reduced a bit as well. It is still a tier 2 upgrade with a lot of friendly fire area and stuff like that. New voiceover for the Ynnari Troopborn. I think this is Connor Brett, I think. A lot of campaign stuff. Quickly going through it. Renegade Guard Demon Ascension now properly works. Any leftover old icons changed, fixed potentially. Crashes from the campaign cutscenes. Stronghold Vect now uses an inert ability that allows him to properly escape. There you go. No longer cheesing Vect here. The Renegade Guard Eternal Shogun had wrong melee weapon and stuff like that. This could be fixed. Icon heroes now share a cap. Okay, fixed an issue with a potential scar arrow with St. Catherine. Yeah, St. Catherine wasn't invulnerable. She now is again. Honor Guard units no longer cost pop, which is nice. Updated lore, why Grey Knights joined the Blood Ravens and the Honor Guard. Check their description. Fix the fatal scar arrow. Fixed bug, out of wind button, certain pink icons. Chaos Demons, Plague Bearers and Pink Horrors now display the icon. There was some missing icons on the meta map. Fix the scar issue with the Chaos Stronghold, while the Chaos enemy is Renegade Guard. Okay, Tyranids now uses proper lines. Fix the scar issue. The Great Demon House Dog now ability from the first browser is now available to both Demon Hunter planners. Very nice. Before it was only if you go for Inquisition. A G Stronghold, the crashed Thunderhawk is now a Hero, Witchhunter one instead of a Ultramarines. Nice. Fix the scar issue with the CSM Stronghold and the Chaos. I think this is the same here. It was probably on it. Honor Guard, Fighter Guard for Demon has now probably model and probability, and used to be Arosmi. The Terminator version is now, I think, the real, quote-unquote, the real one. CSM Honor Guard reworked, added a custom-made auto-cinemagman finishing as Renegade Guard. Look at that, look at that. Renegade Guard will be the next one I play through in the campaign. And now look at the maps. This is like new maps, like all this. Jesus Christ. Fire of Hades, Siege of Hafleur, 4-player map, 6-player map, Autumn Days, 4-player map, Kilgor's Landing, 4-player map, Citadel, 8-player map, Paradise Falls and Ruined Outskirts. I know that Barbatos is in charge of the mapping stuff for mostly, so if he sees this video he can tell you if like he made all these maps or if he pulled them from anywhere and made them fit for Unification. He has some new survival units like the Fortress, Daimyo's Mount and stuff like that, Deadman's Crossing. So a lot of the maps that were existing, Bad Tides not, have now survival stuff like Deadman's Crossing is one, Afterflood is one, Fortress is one, Serholea, Moorhold Range, Grey Jungle and Citadel, I think. So the new maps here also now have the survivalist versions of it as well. Last Stand, Blood Marine and Fortress now have Last Stand versions. Cape of Despair have remade to fix issues with it, removed and replaced with new survival maps. Okay, there's a lot of one that got Airport. I used to play Snowball Fight, Island. Yeah, not really sure about all these maps. Some general stuff that is across the factions. All Warhounds now can be engaged in melee. Dragonade and Melter have some special effects, volume reduced. First part of a general FX rework, so you have seen some stuff from Lacto in the announcement stuff, so there's more stuff on the way, and yeah, it's the first part, there will be more. Requirements not showing yellow text. This is one of my things that I point out quite a lot, and Calculus fixes it for the most part. Fixes some remaining keybinds, overlaps of course. This is not finished because there's so much stuff in the mod, there's bound to be some keybinds that overlap or are missing, so yeah. But for the most part this is done. Various smaller art and typo fixes all around the mod. Assault Helldivers game mode has been renamed to Steel Rain. In reference because Helldivers of Harlequins is confirmed to be added in the future. Revival should now work as well. Survival. Yes, survival and is now fully disabled, which is something that was not the case before. Waves are now have a timer, so if something got stuck, you still will advance. Fixed an issue with the Legion of the Damned Gate dying in survival, so it now only dies when the waves have concluded. Reworked and rebalanced most survival profiles. Enemy outpost namesake now spawns after 30 minutes instead of more or less immediately. And there are some new modes like the destroy enemy firebase, as well as artillery firebases. Airstrikes, what it names, you get airstrikes against 2 player rankings. And player rankings, oh, I like that. Friendly fire off map firing support, so as you survive longer after wave 5, your struggle has now been noticed. Friendly fire support shall become available. Wow, need a slug of the power. Okay, slag. Some are stamped editions, the Eternal Shogun, the Emperor's Champion. Lord General Avon von Eichenhorn has received much needed supplies from Segmental Command. In other words, he has been reworked. Yeah, before he was interesting, you could only use him for the free stuff, have free call-ins abilities. That's one of the few units I've played in last time, so he's now got reworked. Last Stand Orks, also some fixes, some Last Stand stuff which a lot of you will like probably. Heroes Victory Condition, reworked Smack Park, hopefully fixed. This is a victory condition that is known for causing some issues. Yeah, this is one we had here already. AI improvements all across the mod, very smaller art, UI, typo fixes, improvements all around. There you have it. Almost 1.5 hours instead, I think it was 4 hours and stuff. Yeah, with the 7.0, so it's still quite a lot and a lot of much needed stuff. Now I'm waiting for the guys in the comments, but this and that got not fixed and this and that got not adjustment. This is now not like 8.0 with a whole lot of new stuff and stuff like that. This is 7.3, and for the amount of time from 7.0 release to now, this is a whole lot of stuff. Balancing, visual, new stuff. Yeah, I'm really liking it. A lot of work has been put into it, and I think you can see it when you browse through the stuff. So get the new update, play the new update, and yeah, have fun with it. I'm really liking it. Yeah, if I have missed something, you notice something has changed and it's not in the changelog, please put it in the comments. And yeah, as usual guys, thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Bye bye!